What do you do when the old version of you no longer fits, but the new one hasn't fully arrived yet? In this episode, we are going to explore the uncomfortable but fully necessary gap season where sometimes clarity is missing, sometimes your identity feels shaky, and nothing external is wrong on the outside, but maybe things kind of sort of feel off. And what I want to unpack is what this space actually really is and how to honor that space, this gap space, instead of rushing through it. Many times we want to be on the other side of a change. We want to be on the other side and have full clarity. And why transformation requires this void, the spaciousness, before the vision fully comes through. I want to start by saying, as I sip my chai, is I've got hemp seed milk, and I've been playing around with that lately. It's just great, extra protein packed. If you don't have my Chai Tonics 12-month self-care calendar, you can actually get it when you sign up for the waitlist. One of the first to receive info when we drop Chai Tonics, and you can actually see all the behind the scenes. But it's a 12-month self calendar that I put together with 12 incredible different flavors of chai that I really love to reset our nervous system, to ground, and to sip, soothe, and come back to ourselves. It also has these prompts that really go into what we are calling in for ourselves, giving us permission, and so much more. And one of those recipes that it does include, or I think it includes, hemp seed milk, and it also includes other milks that I kind of frequent and play around with. But as I'm also building Chai Tonics, I there has been this intensity to be on the other side, to fully launch, and I think I've shared um, earlier this year that when we moved to Dubai, and for those of you just tuning in for the first time, maybe somebody shared this with you or you found this on YouTube. We were living in Austin, Texas for about 4 years, created our amazing family, and decided that we wanted something new. We were braving the storm of newness, and it was scary. It was uncertain. It still is uncertain. We're in a brand new country. We love it. And there's so many different nuances that we're still learning. And also, I've decided, and actually both my husband and I, we've decided that we want to venture out and really creatively do different projects. And mine has been kind of in the birth process for some time. I actually started this journey about a year and a half ago, starting to play with tinctures and potions and chai, because it really has been reminiscent of home, and probably because it's been so important in my motherhood journey of having two kids, and at one point under three, it was crazy. And for somebody who's so routine and very much into self-care, I couldn't do it at all for like 3 years. And so in that, I found ways to come back to self in mini pauses and mini moments. And I had to carve that time. And out of that really birthed, oh, wait, chai can actually be that practice. Because chai was literally the only thing that I would consistently do day in and day out, every day, sometimes twice a day. But even if the kids were screaming, even if somebody was having a meltdown, even if somebody was having a bad day, I dedicated those 7 to 10 minutes in crushing the herbs, in making sure that I was smelling the aroma, I was taking it in. Literally, I was doing the Japanese tea ceremony, the Chinese tea ceremony. I would take the ladle, and I would be like those chai wallas, if you've ever been to India, and I would be like scooping up the chai and, just like getting that aroma. But literally, that would be many days my meditation. That would be my centering. That would be my grounding practice. That would be my essence of, did I do a morning routine? I sure did. I did chai. And this is giving other women and mothers permission that doesn't matter what your morning routine looks like. Do you have something that brings you back home to yourself? Does it ground you? And guess what? It does reset your nervous system. And I wanted to see if there were other things that I could do to add potency to my chai. So I would add different tonics to support not only my nervous system, but to support when I was lactating and trying to have better breast milk for my kids, both of them, when I was actually breastfeeding. And, the list goes on and on and on. And now it's become this mission. But, you know, as I've reinvented myself so many times, I think that a lot of us, we go through these phases of, reinvention where there's so much uncertainty, where you don't know where it's going and you don't know if the thing you're going to do, is it going to work out? Is it going to fail? Is it going to? And is it? And there's a lot of anxiety. And maybe you're in that spaciousness of like, I don't know what I want to do next, or I know I'm not really liking what I'm doing, or I know that I'm meant for more. And, I shared this quite a few times, but I want to bring this up because it's so relevant of how oftentimes we literally forget that when we are starting new projects, we think that it's got to be, we've got to have it all figured out. And the truth is you don't have to have it all figured out. The truth is, it's in the messiness that we then kind of come back to ourselves with guidance for sure. And when I was in the middle of, selling my practice, and when I was in the middle of stepping down from one of the companies I used to lead and became more of an investor, and when I was in the middle also of, becoming an author for the fourth time and really shifting. There's been many seasons of, starting this podcast, kind of not knowing where it was going to go, but really following the curiosity. I think that has really led to more consistency and also being able to embrace, whatever the failures have been, being able to embrace, the roadblocks, the obstacles, the things that perhaps aren't really in our control. And maybe you've outgrown your current life, even if it looks successful, because oftentimes we might have alignment or success fatigue when you're like, I really want to go inward and you really want to expand your inner knowing. And maybe, you say to yourself, okay, it's all good, but I'm not actually fulfilled. Like I've been doing this thing for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It's getting mundane. Perhaps you're the high achiever who's checked all of the boxes, but maybe you're feeling stuck. Maybe there are places in your life where there is misalignment. And sometimes we tend to ignore the soul's quiet nudge for more. And, why good enough sometimes isn't the question we should be asking. Maybe it's the fact that you're not actually fulfilled. And one of the things that I am so excited to share with you is that you are invited to a sacred container if you are in your own in-between season. And, Ajit has been that co-pilot for me. Everyone knows that he has been such a co-pilot. My husband, also author of 4 books, also, amazing badass in his own right. He's founded several companies and has trained about 16,000 people and has also had 1,300 personal testimonies of people that he's worked with. And, in this season, his whole mantra now is, how can I serve love to folks who are in that in between? Which is why there's this invitation to join us for a 3-day immersion in Dubai, which is happening May 23rd through May 25th, where you will have that intimacy. There's only for maximum 50 business owners, and 50 business owners who are curious either about their next chapter, who are curious to have limitless breakthroughs, whether in their life, whether in the legacy that they're leaving or leading, whether in that next evolution of who are they becoming. And oftentimes we have hit a certain echelon. And for those of you who have been either in corporate or professional careers like doctor, dentist, lawyer, engineer, chiropractor, I mean, you name it, a lot of times we've hit that mark. is there anything else out there? I used to ask this, is there anything else out there? Is there more for me? Am I meant for more? And I knew my soul was nudging that for me. And for a while, I was kind of going in all these different directions, seeing what a lot of people were doing online. But I know in my heart of hearts, I truly wanted to write a book. I just didn't know what I didn't know. There was no linear path like there is, when you're going to corporate ladder, or when you're, creating or building a practice, or when you're going into working with somebody else. There is, a typical linear path. You know that you're going to go up the rankings, up the roles. It's going to take about, 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years. When you're doing something completely out of your comfort level, you just don't know what you don't know. Like for me, creating chai tonics, I don't know what I don't know. What I do know is that I've reinvented myself many, many times before. And what I do know is that every 3 years, I do get this itch. And I do get this itch that I want to create or try something new. And that's just the creatrix in me. That's the creative muse in myself. I've known that for a long time. This has happened with dentistry. I get to a certain point, I max value that. And then, I want to bring other people in to run it. And, this is great because if you are typically a builder or you are a sustainer, meaning that you will sustain the idea of the vision, or you're one that takes it to exit, which is a completely different skill set that I don't really know much about because I have not done that. But what I do know is folks who do begin, who do have all of these ideas. In Ayurveda, I have more of this vata energy, lots of ideas into the mix. Yet I also know that I have that pitta energy, that I will get that stuff done. I will go and I will get it done. And it's going to be, fast, and we're going to go after it. Yet oftentimes what I've often missed is, okay, the strategy. How are you thinking about this thing? How are you actually going to, what are you leaving for yourself? And uh, so that you don't run into burnout. Because an idea without strategy is, failed planning, as we all know. But is it this time? Is it coming from the heart? This time, is it coming from true fulfillment? This time, do you know what you want to create in your next chapter? And this is what Ajit I is going to be doing in Dubai for 3 days, a better you, deep diving into the patterns that actually govern your life. Find your love and motivation to create lasting change, and perhaps maybe begin doing your legacy work. If you are somebody like me, or someone who has kind of been doing the same thing for about 5-10 years, and maybe you're thinking, you know what, maybe thought leadership is what I want to be doing, or maybe I want to start a CPG brand like myself, or maybe you just want a chance to be in a room with 50 other people being trained with some of the biggest brands that you know, their brightest guiding light and star, which is my amazing husband. And I know I'm biased because I am married to him. And I I have seen firsthand the number of people who flock to his events. We've had literally 1,000 people every year coming to his events for the last 5 years. And we've done a very similar event in Austin. And now, for those of you who are living in the region or want to come to Dubai, or you are like, all right, Dubai's been on my radar. Like, I've been checking out your stories. This is a whole paradise in and of itself. Like, what is this utopian place that you are at? This is your invitation. I invite you to come to limitlessimmersion.com. I'll be honest, it's not for those who aren't ready to take the leap, who are wanting to kind of stay small, who are wanting to do the same things that they've been doing for the last 5 to 10 years. It is for people who are curious about creating their legacy, who are curious about building community that's on their terms, who are curious about shattering what no longer serves you, who are curious to choose who you want to be in this next era, who are curious to begin creating a plan that suits you, who is curious to discover what your future entails, whether it's finding love again, whether it's redefining your patterns, whether it's finding what is that thing that is going to excite me, ignite me, and redefine me for the next 5 to 10 years. What you will learn in these 3 days. First, you're going to rediscover your life. You're going to discover what truly drives you. In day one, Ajit takes you through a beautiful, incredible process. And it's one of these things where, honestly, I've, of course, been in many of these rooms with him. I've also facilitated with him. And he has such a way of weaving together not only the personal growth, not only the business tactics and strategies, but also a container of spiritual ascension in many ways, and really uncovering patterns that are running your life on autopilot for you to finally take the wheel. In day two, we get into revitalizing your reality. So if we are thinking about your next chapter, you've got to be able to say yes to find the new drivers for your new life that you are creating. And finally, in day three, you will go home with redesigning your future. So we're talking about your 10x self. We're talking about yourself that is the next version of yourself who you are becoming, the next version of yourself that you are ready to meet. You are going to meet with 50 incredible folks that are going to be in this container with you. Now, in order to build what we've been desiring to build, we have to do things that perhaps get us a little bit uncomfortable. You are going to experience a redefinition of your relationship with money. You are going to let go of inherited beliefs that no longer serve you. You are going to learn how to think differently. When I left dentistry, I had to rethink what got me here won't get me there, especially when I became a motivational speaker, when I then became a mentor and guide to startup female founders, when I became an angel investor to startup female founders, when I began to coach executive leaders. It was a different skill set. But again, these were compounding skill sets. But I had to ask different questions along the way in my many, many iterations of reinvention. A few things stayed the same. And that was my drive, my curiosity, my motivation, my persistence, my ability and my agility to have grit, my ability and agility to brave new frontiers. And you're going to leave with stepping into your own flow that's designed and designated for you, nobody else. And that's why I love this process that Ajit takes you through, because it takes you out of your comfort level of what you have been doing for over the last 5 to 10 years to completely shift your perspective. And I guarantee you are going to come away with it really understanding and knowing who you are desiring to be in your next evolution. So I'm so excited. I get to co-create with Ajit Nawalka over these 3 days, May 23rd through the 25th. So if you're curious, you can hop over to limitlessimmersion.com and you can use BRAVE, BRAVE 25 for your 25% discount. That's if you go ahead to the website, you fill out an application form, and if you get selected, you can use that code at checkout. Now, I'm so curious as to what you are braving in this season, what you are perhaps maybe letting go. Maybe you're letting go certain personas of yourself that are no longer a match or a vibration or a frequency that you want to live or operate in. I know that last year, with so many atrocities that were going on in the world, my frequency was definitely very low. And I would get really affected by what I would see online. I would get massively affected. It would take me out for a couple of days. I'm such an empath in general. And it really, really affected my mood. It actually even affected many of my relationships. I kind of went inward and I had to brave being able to protect my mental health and knowing the change that I could evoke with the people that I could impact in my sphere of influence with this tiny little platform that I have And I knew that what could I bring? What can I bring to the table in my corner of the internet, in my corner of the world, in my corner of my platform that I know that I can effectively say, hey, I've made a change. And that me asking that particular question, that had me also redefining what I was no longer available for. And I'll tell you this, I was no longer available for low quality conversations. I was no longer available for conversations that were, you know, uh, talking about trying to fix others, either in my family or in my inner circle, because guess what? It's their journey. We can only say the things. We come from a place of love, and it's on them. It's on them. And for myself, as a community builder, that was a really, really hard way to see some of my loved ones, see some of my elders, see the closest people in my inner circle, you know, kind of suffer through certain things where I could just be a guide to hold space. And that is huge for those of you who are the way showers of your family. And for those of you who have been in some of my coaching programs in the past or gotten some of my books like That Suck Now What, you know that that is a very, very, very hard thing to do. But I've had to let that version of Neeta go in order to invite this new next iteration of Neeta. And this new next iteration of Neeta, boy, she is in her full playful mode. She's in her full expansive mode. She is attracting opportunities, and she is so magnetic because she is no longer available for the conversations and the energies that necessarily will that she's just not making herself open for. And it has taken many, many years of people pleasing to let that side of her go. It's not that I don't care. It's just I don't have the availability or the space for that, because what I do have space and availability for is what I'm creating next. And that is Tritonics and having brave conversations live. Some of you have come to my live brave conversation events that are happening in Dubai. We're going to be having a few, so stay tuned for that. If you aren't on our email list, definitely you can sign up at neetabhushan.com/Chai so that you can get in on the inside scoop when we are going to be launching Brave Table Lives in your city. And it has been really incredible. So my invitation for you is, can you make yourself less available for the things, the people, the opportunities, the circumstances, the situations, the situationships that you no longer are an energetic match for? This is a big one, because I guarantee you, when you stop being available for those conversations, and I'm saying those low level conversations, sometimes you have to get into because maybe you're seeing a relative or a family member or this or that, and then there's gossip that ensues or whatever. You are no longer available for that. You are only available for what you can create, what you can output, what you can affect, what you can impact in the world. And that is being brave to close the doors, to close the tabs on the things that maybe are no longer an energetic match for you. And I say this with so much love, so much reverence for the path that you are on, so much love for the person that you are molding yourself to be into. And I really, truly hope that I see many of you on the inside of the limitless immersion that's happening. I'm so excited to co-create this with my incredible, amazing husband, who has been such a co-pilot for so many people, such a, behind the scenes, incredible ninja for so many people, that he is finally birthing this out for the masses. And when I say the masses, only a select few of 50 incredible entrepreneurs that are ready to dive in deeply. So if that speaks to you, I hope to see you there. And I'm just curious if there's anything that really shifted for you. I really want to know. And what are you no longer being available for energetically in your life? Well, with that being said, I will see you next time. Don't forget to be just a little bit more brave.